Republicans want to see him in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, the odd thing, speaking of Republicans, James Comer, who ran that committee, he apparently left the hearing early and did not ask a single question.
Huh.
How weird is that?
It's very strange.
He's been calling for him to come in. Hey, Hunt, we want Hunter Biden. He didn't ask him a single question.
Every good story deserves an epilogue. And as you know, Hunter Biden has led a tragic life. He lost his brother and his mother and slipped into a life of drugs and questionable personal choices. I'm not crying crocodile tears, just the facts. And as you know, his father is the president. And Joe Biden, you can say what you want about him, but he's a caring and forgiving father and husband. No porn star payoffs, no BJs in the Oval Office.
If you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, then it's probably you got a problem.
This is James Comer. All I know about him is he is without scruples, an unprincipled pawn in Trump's pocket, and in the worst-case scenario, a traitorous screw in Putin's plan to destabilize the U.S. Comer is frantically attempting to salvage his witness and reputation in the impeachment probe against President Joe Biden, even if that means undermining our national intelligence agencies. Earlier this week on a Fox Business interview, Comer insisted that Smirnoff, whose self-admitted lies were the only evidence he had that Joe and Hunter pocketed millions, he said he was still credible, that in fact the FBI was the one that was suspicious. Now, you know that comes directly from Trump. But first, let's answer Steve Doocy's question.
Been calling for him to come in. Hey, Hunt, we want Hunter Biden. He didn't ask him a single question.
Let me just say that I think my colleagues and I are witnessing the death of the fake, faux, frivolous Joe Biden impeachment inquiry.
Why didn't Comer, after he and Jordan's long crusade to manufacture a case against Joe Biden, ask Hunter Biden any questions in this week's closed-door hearing? According to the transcript, Comer didn't ask one question. Why? Now that's a good question. Could it be that by the time Hunter came to testify, Comer and Jordan knew the gig was up? But remember when Hunter came into a hearing and offered to testify live, Moskowitz made Comer and MAGA look like little bitches?
The witness accepted the chairman's invitation. It just so happens the witness is here. If the committee wants to hear from the witness and the chairman gave the witness that option, then the only folks that are afraid to hear from the witness with the American people watching are my friends on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if there's a proper motion, Mr. Chairman, but I'll make a motion. Let's vote. Let's take a vote. Who wants to hear from Hunter right now, today? Anyone? Come on. Who wants to hear from Hunter?
Yeah.
No one. So I'm a visual learner, and the visual is clear.
So why didn't Comer ask Hunter any questions? Because he knew it was over. It was just a week ago that Comer said that this Form 1023, which contains Smirnoff's allegations that Hunter and Joe pushed these shady Ukrainians to give him $10 million, he said that was all he cared about. But Comer knew that Smirnoff was behind that allegation, and he and Jordan ran it up the flagpole screaming, "We got him!"
The most corroborating evidence we have is that 1023 form from this highly credible, confidential human source.
But when did they know that Smirnoff was being fed this information by Putin, which led to Smirnoff's arrest and an end to the impeachment inquiry? We'll get back to that.
Millions of dollars, and he mentioned all these other countries as well, and Joe's involvement, that he was directly involved in all of this, in spite of what he told the American people as a candidate and as a president numerous times, that he never once spoke to his son, his brother, or anybody for that matter. Is that all true?
I got 5 important points. Number 1, the impeachment inquiry started with suppositions based solely on conjecture. For example, when Hunter admitted that he used to try and impress business associates in either Ukraine or China that his father was or had been vice president by calling his dad on the phone, which isn't a crime and something I bet anyone watching this might have done, how did James Comer and Jim Jordan turn that into a case of bribery and influence peddling? Was someone pushing this agenda?
But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts.
And later, when Comer produced checks between Biden and his brother on an entirely different premise, that Joe and his brother James were trying to force companies to pay them money for influence, the whole thing fell apart with just a few phone calls to the bank. The brothers were loaning and repaying each other loans back. The records proved it. It was embarrassing.
What Republicans swore up and down was true turns out to be a lie. Now, that evidence, that FBI form you keep hearing about, well, it's all BS. Alexander Smirnoff made it all up. that there's no truth whatsoever to what he told investigators about connections between Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and that foreign energy company. That Smirnoff strung together, quote, otherwise unremarkable business meetings and contacts into a non-existent scheme about the Biden family. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman from Florida, Jared Moskowitz. Congressman, simple question. Should Republicans end their impeachment inquiry in light of these charges?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Abby. Yeah, thoughts and prayers to James Comer and the fake, frivolous, faux Biden impeachment.
2, back to Ukraine. With a made-up charge that had no facts behind it, Comer and Jordan went looking for documents and witnesses to substantiate their bullshit made-up charge, fueled solely on Hunter's past sexual indiscretions, drug use, and tax charges, which I really don't have a problem with. Hunter was a train wreck, and any political animal would ask around about a guy that deep in trouble. But that's not what happened. When Hunter's plea deal fell apart, they saw an opening, and they ran with it. 3, Alexander Smirnoff was an FBI informant going back to 2010, and he told the FBI and James Comer that Hunter and his father were hip deep in influence peddling. 1 witness. Now, any trained prosecutor would have dug a little into this witness, but Comer and Jordan instead went on Fox News and gave Hannity, Ingram, and Jesse Waters little stiffies with their talk of Crooked Joe and impeachment. But no one asked, is that all you got? Number 4, Hunter's laptop never had any evidence of anything but porn, but that didn't stop Matt Gaetz.
I want to know where Hunter Biden's laptop is.
Sex charges against me.
Fox News and MAGA Republicans acted like it was the briefcase from Pulp Fiction. But other than helping Dairy Queen rub one out, the pictures in the laptop were a dud.
And so I'm very excited about that.
Number 5, no one saw this coming. Smirnoff may have been an FBI informant, but apparently he had connections with Putin and Russian intelligence. And it was Russia who provided the information that Comer and Jordan used to begin the impeachment inquiry.
But what's really embarrassing, and I use the word secondhand embarrassment because that's what we witnessed in there, is they're so desperate to humiliate the president that they started asking the president's son personal details about a divorce that happened almost 10 years ago. That's where this has been reduced to. And they're doing all this, by the way, when we're just days away from the government shutting down. We're critically in need of funding for Ukraine, the humanitarian crisis over in the Middle East, and more security and a broader immigration plan in this country. They're wasting time, squandering an opportunity to do that because they've never accepted Joe Biden as the president. And now, in this last Hail Mary effort, they're going to try and pull off something. I promise you, past this prologue, it's not going to work.
Now, back to our first question. Why didn't Comer know that Smirnoff had Russian connections? Now under arrest for lying to the FBI, Republicans have again been exposed as facilitators for the Russian interference in our elections. In 2016 and 8 years later, again, Putin was trying to assist Trump in his presidential ambitions. I don't expect Comer to apologize to Biden, but it's extremely clear that Comer knows now he was used by MAGA, by Russia, and by his inflated ego. Putin is currently attempting to destabilize Europe by interfering in their elections while threatening the U.S. with his nuclear arsenal. MAGA Republicans like Comer, Jordan, and Gaetz are weak little incels controlled by Trump, who is controlled by Putin. And Putin never expected Trump to lose to Biden and for Biden to be such a badass. All I can say is let's keep disappointing Vlad.
Am I wrong?
Damn right.
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and hit notifications as Really American keeps you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.